It sounds almost like a fairy tale, the lost pet who travels impossible distances to find its family once more. But these stories are documented, again and again, all over the world. Dogs who walked for months across entire countries, cats who appeared on the doorstep of a home the family had moved away from, having somehow journeyed across hundreds of miles of unfamiliar land. For a long time, people assumed these tales must be exaggerated, or simply cases of mistaken identity, a different animal that happened to look the same. But far too many of them have been confirmed, by microchips, by distinctive markings, by scars that only the true pet could have carried.
The animal really did find its way home, and here is what makes it so astonishing. These creatures were not retracing a path they already knew. They were not following a road they had traveled before. They were crossing brand new territory, often in the wrong season, with no map, no signs that they could read, and no one to stop and ask for directions. And somehow, against everything that should have stopped them, they pointed themselves toward home, and they did not stop until they arrived. To understand how such a thing is even possible, we have to look out at the wider animal kingdom, where journeys like this are not the rare exception at all. They are a way of life. Because all across our planet, animals are performing feats of navigation that put our very best technology to shame. Consider the Arctic tern, a small seabird that flies every single year from the very top of the world to the very bottom and back again, pole to pole, the longest migration of any creature on Earth. Over the course of its life, it will travel a distance equal to several trips to the moon and home again, all in the body of a bird that weighs less than a coffee cup. Consider the monarch butterfly, so delicate that you could hold it in the palm of your hand, which journeys thousands of miles to a tiny patch of forest high in the mountains of Mexico. And here is the truly staggering part. No single butterfly ever makes the whole round trip.
The ones who finally arrive are the great-grandchildren of the ones who first set out. They are navigating to a place they have never been, that none of them has ever seen, and yet they find it, generation after generation after generation. Consider the salmon, who hatches in a quiet mountain stream, swims out into the vast and trackless ocean, and then, years later, returns, fighting against the current, to the exact same stretch of river where its life first began. Consider the sea turtle, who crosses entire oceans and comes back to lay her eggs on the very same beach where she herself once hatched. Not a beach nearby, not a similar one, the exact one. These animals are not simply wandering and getting lucky, they are navigating with a precision that we are only just beginning to understand. And the question that has fascinated scientists for generations is this: how? The first answer is perhaps the most astonishing of them all, because it is a sense that we humans do not even possess. Many animals can feel the Earth itself. Our planet is wrapped in a vast and invisible magnetic field, lines of force running silently between the North and the South poles. We cannot sense it at all, not without a compass held in our hand. But a great many animals appear to carry that very compass inside their own bodies. Birds use it to hold their course across whole oceans in the dark of night. Sea turtles use it to find their way across thousands of miles of open water. And scientists believe that each stretch of coastline carries its own unique magnetic signature, which the turtle remembers almost like an address. A turtle can pinpoint a single beach across an entire ocean, a feat that still leaves our scientists astonished. This remarkable ability is called magnetoreception, the sense of the magnetic field, and the more closely we look, the more creatures we find that seem to possess it. And here is a detail that may change the way you watch your own dog forever. Researchers studying dogs discovered that when they go to relieve themselves, dogs actually prefer to line their bodies up along the north to south axis of the Earth's magnetic field. Your dog, in other words, can very likely feel magnetic north, the same invisible force that guides the great migrations. Somewhere inside that ordinary, familiar animal asleep on your floor is a compass, quietly and constantly pointing the way. It is little wonder then that a lost dog might feel a powerful pull in one particular direction, a sense deep in its body of which way home truly lies. Imagine carrying a compass you can never lose, never drop, never forget to bring. That is what these animals are born with. But a compass all on its own is not enough. If all you know is which way is north, you still need to know where you are and where it is you are trying to go. And so animals layer that magnetic sense together with a whole remarkable toolkit of other abilities. Many use the sun as a compass, tracking its position across the sky and adjusting hour by hour as it slowly moves. Some birds, astonishingly, learn the night sky itself. As young chicks, they study the stars wheeling overhead, and they memorize the one fixed point around which all the others seem to turn, and they use it for the rest of their lives to find their way through the dark. Some animals can see patterns of polarized light in the sky that are completely invisible to us. Others build detailed mental maps of the landmarks far below them, the rivers, the coastlines, the mountains, and follow them like a road map drawn entirely from memory. The truth is that a migrating animal is never relying on any single trick. It is a master navigator, weaving together the magnetic field, the sun, the stars, the light, and the land into one seamless sense of direction that we are only beginning to comprehend. It is humbling, really. A creature with a brain a fraction of the size of our own, performing calculations that our finest engineers still struggle to match. And it does it all without a single instrument, without a map, without a word of instruction from anyone. Before we go on, if you are enjoying this journey as much as I am, take a moment to tap that like button. It truly helps these gentle explorations reach more people who love the natural world the way that you do.
Now let us bring this a little closer to home. For our dogs and our cats, there is one more tool, and it may well be the most important of all when it comes to finding their way back to us. It is the nose. We have spoken before about the astonishing power of an animal's sense of smell, but it is worth understanding just how much of their entire world is built from it. Where we simply see the landscape, a dog smells it. To your dog, the world is a vast and intricate map made entirely of scent, layered and rich and forever changing. Every tree, every patch of grass, every passing animal and person leaves a signature that your dog can read as easily as you read a street sign. And these scents can travel for great distances on the wind. A dog far from home may catch, on a passing breeze, the faint and familiar smell of a place that it knows, or the direction of a river it once crossed, or the distant signature of the only home it has ever loved. Some scientists believe that this is a key part of how lost pets navigate, following an invisible trail of scents, stitching together a map that leads them, step by patient step, back toward the familiar. Combine that incredible nose with an inner magnetic compass and a memory for landmarks, and you begin to see how a determined animal, against all the odds in the world, might just find its way across an unimaginable distance, all the way to the door it longs for. Their nose does not just smell the world.
In a very real sense, it remembers it. And what it remembers, above all, is the scent of the people it loves. And determined they are, because this is where the science meets something that science alone cannot quite explain. The history books and the news are full of these journeys, and they are almost too remarkable to believe. There was a dog named Bobby who became separated from his family while they were traveling far from home, lost in a strange and distant state. His family searched everywhere they could and eventually returned home without him, certain that he was gone for good. And then, 6 long months later, Bobby walked right up to their door. He had traveled more than 2,000 miles, all the way across America, entirely alone, through the depths of winter, over mountains and rivers and plains he had never once laid eyes on, just to come home. No one taught him the way. No one was guiding him. He simply knew that his family was out there, and he went. His paws were worn down to the bone, but he had made it. And Bobby is very far from alone. There are cats who have crossed hundreds of miles of unknown country to reach a family that had moved away. There are dogs who have turned up many months later, having tracked their people across distances that should have been completely impossible. These animals were not migrating on instinct towards some ancient breeding ground.
They were not following a seasonal path written into their species long ago.
They were doing something far more personal and far more moving than that. They were searching for the ones they loved. And nothing, it seemed, not distance, not danger, not hunger, not exhaustion, was ever going to stop them. And this is the part of the whole story that I find the most beautiful of all. For a migrating bird, or a salmon, or a sea turtle, home is a place. It is a beach, a stream, a patch of forest, a destination written into their very biology. But stop, just for a moment, and ask yourself this. What is home to a dog or to a cat? It is not really the building, is it? It is not the walls or the rooms or the patch of yard out back. We know this because these animals will cross an entire country to reach a house they have never even lived in, simply because that is where their family has gone. Which means that, to them, home was never truly the place at all. Home is us. Home is the people that they love. The magnetic sense, the map of scent, the memory of the wheeling stars, all of that incredible machinery can explain how an animal points itself in the right direction. But it cannot explain why. It cannot explain the will, the sheer and stubborn determination that drives a small, tired, frightened creature to keep walking, day after day, mile after mile, long past the point where any reasonable animal would have simply lain down and given up. That part does not come from a compass. That part comes from the heart.
What truly guides our animals home is not only the magnetism of the earth, it is the magnetism of love. And love, it turns out, may be the most powerful navigation system of them all. Science can map the route. It cannot measure the longing. So, how do animals find their way home? The answer, it turns out, is one of the most wondrous things in all of nature. They feel the magnetic pull of the earth itself. They read the sun and the stars like a map laid out across the heavens. They follow rivers of scent that are completely invisible to us, and they hold whole landscapes in their memory. Inside the most ordinary creature lies a navigator more gifted than any machine we have ever built. We spend billions building satellites to find our way. They were born already knowing. But for the animals who share our homes and our hearts, there is something more, something that turns all of that astonishing instinct into an act of pure love. They do not simply find their way to a location on a map, they find their way back to us. And so the very next time your dog circles 3 times and settles down at your feet, or your cat climbs into your lap and begins softly to purr, take just a moment to truly see it, because that animal, with its inner compass and its map of the stars and its endless map of scents, with the whole wide world spread out before it and every single direction open, has chosen this one spot, here, beside you, as the place it most wants to be in all the world.
Of everywhere it could possibly go, it came here. It came home. And home, for the creature that loves you, has only ever meant one single thing. It has always and only meant you. If this touched your heart, then you understand the kind of devotion we have been talking about today. So tell us in the comments below, has a pet of yours ever found its way back to you against all the odds? Or do you know an incredible journey story of your very own? We would truly love to hear it, and we read every single one. There is nothing more moving than this community sharing the animals who would cross the whole wide world just to be near them. And if you would like more gentle journeys into the hidden wonders of the animals we love, what they can do, what they feel, and what they understand about us, then subscribe and stay close, because there is so much more waiting just ahead. Thank you for being here with us today. And until the next one, give them an extra moment of your time tonight. To them, you are the whole world.